stay steadfast, tread lightly, cause they're looking for a reason to knock you down.
This was a record that was made, entirely in lockdown. And I have a studio at my house, but I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to run it. So normally there's an engineer here while I'm playing music over there. But there was no engineer coming. And so it was really a desperate and kind of depressing time where I, for over the course of decades, all I've been doing is writing, recording, and performing music. And all that came to an end in March of 2020. So inspiration struck from a very unusual place. Is I read an article where Kanye West was describing how he had recorded the vocals for a couple of his albums onto the voice memo of his phone. So I started recording guitar riffs into the voice memo of this phone right here. And they sounded great. And I started sending them to producers and engineers, around the world. And all of a sudden I was able to create. Now, this did not start as okay, now I'm going to make a record with a bunch of collaborators. It was just a way to maintain my sanity and to assert myself as a musician during a time where it seemed like there was going to be no music. It was only after some months of sort of amassing a body of work and a body of material that I was like, oh, I think this is the next Atlas Underground record. And so that's where I really started looking to curate these songs and these artists to create something that was going to be very diverse, something that was going to be guitar driven, but not have any sort of rules or regulations with regards to an attachment to genre. It allowed a different kind of freedom in the studio where normally when you're recording a song, you set up the microphones and you do a bunch of takes and you cut the takes together to get the perfect, there was none of that. I'd come up on a Tuesday and I'd play 4 riffs and I send them to Bruce Springsteen or Bring Me the Horizon, and then they would send me something back. And then that's it. There's not, whatever I recorded on Tuesday, that's the record. And there was something about that felt really organic isn't even the word. It just felt like this, almost like this roulette wheel. There was an element of chance to it. I would come, it's not like I would work for 5 days to perfect a song and then record. It's like, I pick up with some riffs today and I send them off and then somebody responds to those riffs and I respond to that. And it was really a different and liberating way. And during a time where every day during lockdown felt like it was exactly the same as the day before, it provided unexpectedness in the creativity. It really made me feel more kind of alive and connected at a time where I was completely. 2014, I was playing with E Street Band on tour in Australia, and we were in Perth, Australia, the home of Bon Scott, the singer of AC/DC, and I stopped to pay my respects at his grave late one night, and came back to the hotel bar and saw Bruce, and I'm like, do you think that AC/DC and the E Street Band might overlap in any way? And he was like, maybe. So we began rehearsing Highway to Hell at Soundcheck. And a few days later, we found ourselves in a Melbourne football stadium, 80,000 people. And Eddie Vedder happened to be there. He was on a solo tour. So I knocked on Bruce's dressing room door and said, we're in Australia where AC/DC is king, where Highway to Hell is like the unofficial national anthem of the country. Yeah. What if we open the show with Highway to Hell with Eddie Vedder singing? And he was like, that's a good idea. So we did. And it was one of those most powerful, insane moments of tribal connectedness. With 80,000 people really as one, yelling and going crazy. And so cut to making the Atlas Underground Fire, I'm alone. There is no connectedness. Everybody's alone. The concerts are a distant memory. Moments like that are seem like they're from 100 years ago. And I remembered that moment of that tremendous connectedness and that like that feeling of like that intensity of 80,000 people joined together. And I called up Bruce and Eddie. I said, you guys want to record Highway to remember that? Remember what we did in Melbourne? You guys want to record that song?
Yeah.
So they did. And fortunately, it's a great reminder of one of the most intense nights of music that I've ever been a part of.